Is Florida's housing market on the verge of collapse? Behind the Sunshine State's sunny beaches and vibrant cities, a storm is brewing. Home prices in some Florida cities are teetering, with skyrocketing insurance costs, ballooning inventory, and vanishing buyers signaling a 2025 crash that could rival 2008. Which cities are at risk of becoming real estate ghost towns? Could your dream home turn into a financial nightmare? Stay tuned as we count down the top 10 Florida cities where home prices are set to plummet in 2025. You won't believe which city tops the list. Drop your guesses in the comments. Number 10. Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale, Florida city where palm trees sway and ocean breezes beckon, but the housing market is hitting choppy waters. Once a darling of investors and retirees, this coastal gem is flashing warning signs in 2025. According to regional MLS data, inventory has surged by over 80% year-over-year, with more than 4,500 homes listed compared to just 2,500 in 2023. Homes that sold for $650,000 2 years ago now linger at $580,000, struggling to attract buyers. The average time on the market has stretched to 62 days, up from a brisk 25 days in 2022. What's driving this slowdown? The biggest culprit is skyrocketing homeowners insurance. Fort Lauderdale's coastal location makes it a high-risk zone for hurricanes, pushing annual premiums to a staggering $7,000 minus $9,000 for many homeowners, a 50% jump since 2023. Combine that with rising HOA, FISM exceeding $500 monthly, and affordability is crumbling. Buyers are backing off, wary of the mounting costs. Investors, who fueled the 2022-2024 condo boom, are also retreating. A recent report shows 30% of investment properties bought at the peak are now listed below their purchase price, with Airbnb hosts hit hard by a 12% drop in tourism occupancy rates. The economy isn't helping either. While Fort Lauderdale boasts a vibrant tourism and marine industry, job growth in 2024 slowed to 1.2% below the state average. The median household income of $66,000 can't keep pace with rising costs, pricing out local buyers. Overbuilding during the pandemic frenzy has left condos and single-family homes piling up, creating a buyer's market where sellers are slashing prices to compete. Fort Lauderdale's beaches and nightlife remain postcard perfect, but its housing market is wobbling. With inventory stacking up and costs soaring, 2025 could see further price drops. If you're eyeing this city, proceed with caution. It's a buyer's opportunity, but only for those ready to weather the storm. What do you think of Fort Lauderdale's market? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe for more real estate insights. Number 9. Cape Coral. Cape Coral, Florida, once hailed as a waterfront wonderland with over 400 miles of canals, is now navigating treacherous real estate waters in 2025. This Gulf Coast city, a magnet for retirees and remote workers during the pandemic boom, is facing a housing market cooldown that's sending shockwaves through its neighborhoods. Back in 2022, median home prices soared to $424,767, fueled by frenzied demand. Fast forward to 2025, and prices have slid to $361,761, a nearly 15% drop, according to Zillow. Homes are languishing on the market for over 70 days, compared to just 30 days 2 years ago. So, what's sinking Cape Coral's housing market? Overbuilding is a major anchor dragging prices down. Developers went wild from 2021 to 2023, flooding the market with new homes. Active listings have nearly doubled to 4,000 from 1,800 in 2023 per regional MLS data. Entire subdivisions sit half empty, with "for sale" signs dotting the landscape. This oversupply has tipped the scales, turning a seller's market into a buyer's battlefield where price cuts are now the norm. Then, there's the insurance crisis. Cape Coral's proximity to the Gulf and its flood-prone canals have driven homeowners' insurance premiums to dizzying heights, $8,000 to $12,000 annually for many properties, a 60% spike since 2022. Some insurers have even exited the market, leaving homeowners scrambling for coverage. Add in utility expansion fees, with new residents facing $30,000 assessments for water and sewer hookups, and affordability is taking a serious hit. The local economy isn't providing much buoyancy either. Cape Coral relies heavily on construction, tourism, and retirees, but job growth has slowed to 1.1% in 2024, and the median household income of $65,000 can't keep up with rising costs. Investors, once eager to snap up properties for short-term rentals, are now selling off, with 25% of listings tied to investor exits. This sell-off is creating a domino effect, forcing sellers to slash prices further to compete. Cape Coral's canals and sunsets still dazzle, but its housing market is a cautionary tale in 2025. With oversupply, soaring costs, and waning demand, prices could keep sliding. Buyers might find deals, but sellers are in for a rough ride. Number 8. Tampa. Tampa, Florida, vibrant hub of waterfront views, booming businesses, and a lively cultural scene is now staring down a housing market correction that could hit hard in 2025. Once a red-hot destination for pandemic-era transplants, Tampa's real estate market is cooling fast, with home prices showing signs of serious strain. According to CoreLogic's March 2025 Home Price Insights report, Tampa is one of Florida's top markets at very high risk over a 70% chance of price declines. The median home price, which peaked at $420,000 in mid-2022, has already dipped to $400,000, a 1.3% year-over-year drop as of Q1 2025. Active listings in Hillsborough County have surged to 5,400, up 80% from 2023, and homes are sitting on the market for an average of 65 days, compared to just 28 days 2 years ago. What's pushing Tampa toward a potential price crash? Overbuilding is a massive factor. Tampa saw a construction frenzy during the pandemic, with condos, apartments, and single-family homes sprouting across the skyline. Between 2020 and 2024, the city added nearly 10% to its housing stock, according to Census Bureau estimates. This flood of new homes has left supply outpacing demand, creating a buyer's market. Reventure Consulting notes that 29.3% of Tampa listings saw price cuts in April 2025, with some investors liquidating properties at 20% losses from their 2022 purchase prices. This oversupply is compounded by a slowdown in migration. Redfin reports Tampa as one of the top 10 U.S. metros with the steepest drop in net domestic migration from 2023 to 2024, as the allure of Florida's pandemic freedom fades. The insurance crisis is another gut punch. Tampa's coastal location makes it vulnerable to hurricanes, driving homeowners' insurance premiums to an average of $6,500 minus $10,000 annually, a 60% increase since 2019, per Reuters. High HOA fees, often $400 minus $600 monthly for condos, further erode affordability. The median household income of $69,000 can't keep up, pricing out local buyers and cooling demand from out-of-state newcomers. Job growth, while still positive at 1.8% in 2024, is below the national average, adding pressure to the market. Tampa's affordability crisis is stark. With mortgage rates hovering around 6.5% and a home price-to-income ratio of 5.8, buyers need an income of roughly $90,000 to afford a median-priced home far above what many residents earn. This has led to buyer fatigue, with closed sales for single-family homes down 1.3% year-over-year in March 2025, per Florida Realtors. Condo sales are faring worse, dropping 9.8%. Despite Tampa's appeal beaches, nightlife, and a growing tech sector, these factors signal a market teetering on the edge. Buyers might find deals in 2025, but sellers face a tough road. Tampa's housing market is shifting from boom to bust, and caution is key. Have you considered Tampa for a home purchase? Share your thoughts below. Number 7. Jacksonville. Jacksonville, Florida, sprawling across the state's northeast coast with its riverfront charm and southern hospitalities, grappling with a housing market that's starting to crack under pressure in 2025. Once a beacon for affordable coastal living, this massive city by area is seeing its real estate dreams fade as prices teeter on the edge of a steep decline. According to Zillow, Jacksonville's median home price, which peaked at $375,000 in 2022, has slipped to $340,000 in 2025, a 9.3% drop. Inventory has ballooned to nearly 4,500 active listings, a 104% surge from 2,200 in early 2023 per Northeast Florida MLS data. Homes now sit on the market for an average of 55 days, up from just 22 days in 2022. What's driving Jacksonville toward a potential price crash? Overbuilding is a key culprit. Suburbs like Orange Park and Middleburg saw a construction boom during the pandemic, with developers banking on continued demand from remote workers and retirees. But that demand has fizzled. Fitch Ratings flagged Jacksonville's market as 26% overvalued in 2024, and the oversupply of new homes coupled with rising mortgage rates near 6.8% has priced out many buyers. A $340,000 home now carries monthly payments of around $2,400, a tough pill for locals earning a median household income of $63,000. The insurance crisis is hitting Jacksonville hard. With its proximity to the Atlantic and flood-prone St. Johns River, homeowners face premiums averaging $6,000 minus $8,000 annually, up 55% since 2022, according to local insurance reports. Some carriers have pulled out entirely, leaving residents scrambling. This, combined with rising property taxes averaging 1.1% or $3,740 on a median-priced home, has made home ownership increasingly unaffordable. Economic headwinds are also blowing through. Jacksonville's economy leans heavily on logistics and shipping, but Jacksport reported a 14% drop in freight volumes in 2024, leading to job losses in related sectors. This has dampened buyer confidence, with pending sales collapsing at a rate of 25% in Q1 2025 due to financing issues and low appraisals. Investors, who once scooped up properties for rentals, are now offloading them, with 20% of listings tied to investor sell-offs. PER, local realtor data. Jacksonville's riverfront parks and vibrant downtown still shine, but its housing market is on shaky ground. With oversupply, rising costs, and economic slowdown, 2025 could bring deeper price cuts. Buyers might snag bargains, but sellers are in for a rough ride. Number 6. Sarasota. Sarasota, Florida, where white sand beaches meet a vibrant art scene, and retirees sip cocktails by the marinas, facing a housing market hangover that could spell trouble in 2025. This Gulf Coast gem, once a red-hot luxury destination, is cooling faster than a summer sunset. According to Redfin, Sarasota's median home price has dropped from a peak of $475,000 in 2022 to $425,000 in 2025, a 10.5% decline. Inventory has surged to over 3,900 active listings, more than double the 1,800 seen in 2023. Homes now linger on the market for an average of 85 days, up from a brisk 30 days 2 years ago. What's dimming Sarasota's real estate shine? The market's overvaluation is a major factor. Zillow data shows Sarasota's homes were priced 38% above their long-term value in 2022, creating a bubble ripe for bursting. Rising mortgage rates, now near 6.7%, have made the city's high-end properties less attainable. A $425,000 home carries monthly payments of roughly $2,800, out of reach for many locals, with a median household income of $62,000. This affordability gap has scared off buyers, particularly out-of-state retirees, who fueled the boom but are now hesitant due to inflation and stock market volatility. In 2024, insurance CE costs are another nail in the coffin. Sarasota's waterfront properties face hurricane risks, pushing annual premiums to $8,000 minus $12,000, a 65% jump since 2022 per local insurance reports. Some homeowners report premiums rivaling their mortgage payments, making second homes or investment properties less appealing. Investor activity, once a driving force, is waning. Nearly 25% of current listings are investor-owned, with many selling at losses to exit an oversaturated market, especially in the short-term rental sector, where Airbnb bookings dropped 10% year over year. Sarasota's economy, heavily reliant on tourism and seasonal residents, is feeling the pinch. Tourism spending fell 8% in 2024 per Visit Sarasota County, reducing demand for vacation homes. Overbuilding has also left new condo developments half empty, with for sale signs multiplying along Siesta Key. Despite its cultural allure, think art galleries and the Ringling Museum, Sarasota's housing market is facing a reality check. Buyers might find opportunities in 2025, but sellers are sweating. Sarasota's charm remains, but its real estate market is navigating choppy waters. Number 5. Port St. Lucie. Port St. Lucie, Florida, once affordable coastal haven that promised sunny escapes and family-friendly living, is now teetering on the edge of a housing market cliff in 2025. This city, known for its golf courses and proximity to pristine beaches, is seeing its real estate boom unravel faster than a poorly tied knot. According to Florida Atlantic University's 2025 housing data, Port St. Lucie's homes are priced 41% above their long-term value, making it one of Florida's most overvalued markets. Median home prices, which soared to $410,000 in 2022, have dropped to $360,000 and 12.2% decline. Inventory has spiked 35% year over year to 3,200 listings, up from 2,400 in 2023, per local MLS data. Homes now sit unsold for an average of 70 days, compared to just 25 days 2 years ago. What's driving this dramatic slide? Overvaluation is the heart of the problem. The pandemic-era influx of out-of-state buyers, particularly from New York and New Jersey, pushed prices to unsustainable heights. With mortgage rates climbing to 6.8%, monthly payments for a $360,000 home now hover around $2,400, unaffordable for locals earning a median household income of $62,000. This affordability gap has crushed demand, leaving sellers slashing prices or offering incentives like closing cost credits and rate buydowns. Insurance costs are another deal breaker. Port St. Lucie's low-lying geography and hurricane exposure have driven annual premiums to $6,500 minus $9,000, a 50% increase since 2022, according to local insurance reports. Some carriers have exited the market, making coverage scarce and expensive. Add in rising HOA fees. Some communities now charge $200 minus $300. Monthly and homeownership costs are spiraling out of reach. Infrastructure woes are compounding the issue. Rapid growth strained schools, roads, and water utilities, with new residents facing special assessments up to $20,000 for utility expansions. These costs deter buyers, especially as job growth slows. The city's economy, tied to construction and retail, saw only 1% job growth in 2024, per Bureau of Labor Statistics data, leaving locals and newcomers hesitant to commit. Investors are fleeing too. Many who bought during the boom are now selling at losses, with 20% of listings tied to investor exits, per Redfin. This oversupply is flooding the market, forcing further price cuts. Port St. Lucie's beaches and lifestyle still charm, but its housing market is buckling under the weight of overvaluation and rising costs. Number 4. Fort Myers. Fort Myers, Florida Gulf Coast darling, known for its swaying palms and vibrant retiree community, is riding a real estate roller coaster that's plunging fast in 2025. Once a poster child for Florida's housing boom, this city is now grappling with a market correction that's shaking sellers to their core. Zillow reports that median home prices, which skyrocketed to $430,000 in 2022, have fallen to $400,000, a 7% drop. Inventory has exploded to over 5,200 listings, up 62% from 3,200 in 2023 per Southwest Florida MLS data. Homes now linger on the market for 65 days, more than double the 28 days seen 2 years ago. What's fueling Fort Myers' descent into a potential price crash? Hurricane Ian's aftermath in 2022 left a lasting scar. Insurance premiums have soared to $9,000 minus $12,000 annually, a 70% spike, according to local insurance reports. Even non-flood zone homes face steep costs, with some carriers exiting the state entirely. This makes homeownership a financial burden, especially for retirees on fixed incomes. The median household income of $59,000 can't support these escalating costs, pushing local buyers out of the market. Overbuilding is another culprit. Fort Myers saw a frenzy of new construction during the pandemic, with developers banking on snowbirds and investors. Now, neighborhoods like Gateway and Lehigh Acres are dotted with unsold homes, contributing to a supply glut. Redfin notes that 25% of listings have seen price cuts of 5 to 10% in 2025, with some sellers offering upgrades or closing cost incentives to attract buyers. The economy is faltering too. Tourism, a key driver, has weakened, with hotel bookings down 10% and vacation rental revenue dropping 12% year over year, per Lee County tourism data. This hits Airbnb hosts hard, many of whom are now selling at losses. Job growth, at just 0.9% in 2024, lags behind the state average, further dampening demand. The investor retreat is stark. 30% of listings are investor-owned, per local realtor reports, flooding the market further. Fort Myers beaches and laid-back vibe remain alluring, but its housing market is in serious trouble. With insurance costs, oversupply, and economic slowdown, 2025 could bring steeper price drops. Buyers might find bargains, but sellers are facing a harsh reality. Number 3. St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg, Florida, where colorful murals, waterfront parks, and an artsy vibe once made it a real estate hotspot, is now painting a grim picture for homeowners in 2025. This Pinellas County gem, celebrated for its vibrant culture, is facing a housing market correction that's hitting hard. According to Redfin, the median home price, which peaked at $450,000 in 2024, has slid to $390,000, a 13.3% drop. Inventory has surged to 5,600 listings, up 100% from 2,800 in 2023, per local MLS data. Homes now sit unsold for an average of 50 days, compared to just 17 days during the boom. What's turning St. Pete's housing market into a cautionary tale? The investor pullback is a major driver. During the pandemic, St. Petersburg was a magnet for investors, snapping up condos and vacation rentals. Now, with Airbnb occupancy rates down 11% from 2023 and stricter short-term rental regulations, many are dumping properties. Local realtor data shows 25% of listings are investor-owned, with nearly 1 in 4 homes discounted by 5 to 10% to move. This sell-off is flooding the market, forcing sellers to slash prices to compete. Insurance costs are another crippling factor. St. Pete's proximity to Tampa Bay and hurricane risks have pushed annual premiums to $10,000 minus $14,000 for waterfront properties, a 70% increase since 2022, PER Insurance Industry reports. Some homeowners report insurance costs rivaling their mortgages, deterring buyers and squeezing affordability. The median household income of $58,000 can't keep up, making homeownership a stretch for locals and cooling demand from out-of-state buyers. Overbuilding has exacerbated the problem. The construction boom of 2021-2023 left St. Petersburg with an oversupply of condos and new subdivisions, particularly in areas like Old Northeast. With mortgage rates at 6.7%, monthly payments for a $390,000 home hover around $2,600 out of reach for many. Economic slowdown is also hitting hard. Tourism spending dropped 9% in 2024 per Visit St. Pete Clearwater, reducing demand for second homes. Job growth, at 1.3%, lags behind Florida's average, further dampening buyer confidence. St. Petersburg's cultural charm and sunny shores still dazzle, but its housing market is in a tailspin. With oversupply, soaring insurance, and investor exits, 2025 could see deeper price cuts. Buyers may find deals, but sellers are in for a bumpy ride. Number 2. Ocala. Ocala, Florida, known as the horse capital of the world, with its rolling pastures and charming downtownness, galloping straight into a housing market slowdown in 2025. Once a haven for affordable living and equestrian dreams, this Marion County city is now facing a reality check as home prices teeter on the edge of a steep decline. According to Redfin, Ocala's median home price has fallen from $280,100 in 2022 to $255,510, an 8.8% drop. Inventory has exploded to nearly 3,000 active listings, a 275% surge from 800 in 2022, per local MLS data. Homes now linger on the market for 80 days, up from just 19 days 2 years ago. What's driving Ocala's housing market toward a potential crash? Overbuilding is a massive factor. During the pandemic frenzy, developers flocked to Ocala, drawn by cheap land and soaring demand. Subdivisions like Silver Spring Shores sprouted rapidly, but demand hasn't kept pace. Many new neighborhoods are now ghost towns, with rows of unsold homes collecting dust. Redfin reports that 30% of listings in 2025 have seen price cuts of 5 to 10%, as sellers struggle to attract buyers in an oversaturated market. Insurance costs are another crushing blow. Ocala's inland location doesn't spare it from Florida's insurance crisis. Homeowners face annual premiums of $5,500 minus $7,000, a 175% spike since 2022, especially for older homes or those outside city limits, per local insurance data. This, combined with rising property taxes averaging 1% or $2,550 on a median-priced home haze, made homeownership increasingly unaffordable for locals earning a median household income of $50,000. Economic challenges are compounding the issue. Ocala's economy relies heavily on agriculture, manufacturing, and tourism, but job growth slowed to 0.8% in 2024, per Bureau of Labor Statistics data. The lack of high-paying jobs outside seasonal tourism roles has driven younger residents to larger cities, reducing local demand. Investor activity, once robust, is waning, with 20% of listings tied to investor sell-offs, per local realtor reports, further flooding the market. Ocala's horse trails and natural springs still captivate, but its housing market is stumbling hard. With oversupply, soaring costs, and declining demand, 2025 could bring sharper price drops. Buyers might snag deals, but sellers are facing a rough ride. Number 1. Lakeland. Lakeland, Florida nestled between Tampa and Orlando, once a shining star of affordable suburban living, is now ground zero for Florida's housing market crash in 2025. This mid-sized city, known for its lakes and family-friendly vibe, has gone from boomtown to bust in just 3 years. Zillow reports that median home prices, which soared to $350,000 in 2023, have slid to $325,000, a 7.1% drop. Inventory has ballooned to 4,800 listings, up 60% from 3,000 in 2023, per local MLS data. Homes now languish on the market for 55 days, more than double the 23 days seen during the boom. What's turned Lakeland into Florida's most vulnerable housing market? Overbuilding is the epicenter of this quake. Lakeland saw a frenzy of suburban development in South Lakeland and North Polk County from 2021 to 2023, with developers betting big on continued growth. But demand has collapsed, leaving entire neighborhoods half-empty. Redfin notes that 31% of listings are investor-owned, with many slashing prices by 10 to 15% to exit. This sell-off is creating a vicious cycle: more inventory, fewer buyers, and deeper price cuts. Insurance costs are suffocating homeowners. Even without direct coastal exposure, Lakeland's premiums have climbed to $4,000 minus $5,500 annually, a 40% increase since 2022, per local insurance reports. Combined with property taxes averaging 1.1% or $3,575 on a median-priced home, affordability is crumbling for residents earning a median household income of $54,000. A $325,000 home now carries monthly payments of around $2,300 with 6.7% mortgage rates, tough stretch for most locals. Economic headwinds are blowing hard. Lakeland's economy, tied to logistics and warehousing, has been hit by a national freight slowdown, with job growth stalling at 0.7% in 2024, per Bureau of Labor Statistics data. This has dampened buyer confidence, with pending sales falling through at a 28% rate in Q1 2025 due to financing issues and low appraisals. The investor retreat is stark, with many who bought at the peak now selling at losses, flooding the market further. Lakeland's lakes and small-town charm still draw admirers, but its housing market is in freefall. With oversupply, rising costs, and a weakening economy, 2025 could see prices plummet further. Buyers might find steals, but sellers are in for a nightmare. Florida's housing market is cracking, with these 10 cities leading the plunge. From oversupply to skyrocketing insurance, the dream of affordable living is fading fast. Will these markets recover, or is the crash just beginning? Share your thoughts below, subscribe for more, and tell us your next topic.